Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Kaga. I've prepared today a short collection of replays that typify the Tier 8 Japanese heavy tank, the OHO, or some of you might know it as the OE-120 heavy tank. By now you're probably familiar with the Japanese heavy tank concept, is fairly slow vehicles, excellent armor, pretty good guns, poor accuracy, and outright some of the best gun depression you'll find on equally tiered heavy tanks. The Oho is no exception to this. It has its own peculiarities, and you'll see some of these in the replays I've selected for today. So I want to get this out of the way right at the beginning that this match is very artificially World of Tanks common test server in Russia conditions because under normal circumstances on the live server, you cannot expect to have a 7 versus 7 public match battle royale, which is exactly what you're seeing right now. And for those of you who are a little more astute to the characteristics of the tank, you're going to see that very characteristic Japanese OE heavy tank chassis design as a base, and then you're going to notice that there are these weird mini turrets with one of them mounting what appears to be a 37mm anti-tank gun, and the other two being effectively machine gun bulges that rotate. This particular replay is going to highlight that the asymmetry, that is the uneven placement across the front of the hull of those front two turrets, are so critical to understanding how this vehicle can make use of its gun depression. In practice, this means that when you traverse the gun to the left side of the tank, you will have an effective gun depression that is different than the right side of the tank. In this way, it means that if you're driving the OHO over hilly terrain, you are going to have a preference to plan your hull defilade positions or hull down positions over that hill so that you can only expose that very nice high mounted 105mm cannon on the OHO and then not give the enemy any flat trajectory shots against the very large, broad, and flat panels on the hull of the OHO. You're going to see me demonstrate this in a little bit against the enemy OHO after I stop trying to look for shots that I'm probably not going to hit against the Jagdpanther in a CDC. So we take one hit from the Jagdpanther earlier and another hit from the OHO, but as you can see, because we're angling the hull, we're not giving him any easy shots. And right now you can see that he really only has the strong angled turret armor of our vehicle to shoot at. When we poke too far over, he gets a shot, and we bounce one off his lower glacis. Pull back, he puts one in our side there. And this is so critical to mastery of not just the OHO, but all of the Japanese heavies, is knowledge of how to angle them effectively and to make use of their peculiarities. And their peculiarities being like the asymmetry on this particular vehicle's hull in those front turrets, which limits the gun depression. And that's why this enemy OHO has to go almost completely broadside to us to get a shot down while we can leave our hull in a very strong position against him. Likewise, there's another lesson to be learned in this replay, and that is to be cautious in your advance. Don't get swept up in it so much that it leaves you unable to react to changes in the battlefield. Granted, once you start going in a direction, it's probably best to keep going in that direction. That is another lesson that's you should take from this video because I made the mistake. So if you look at the stats on any of the guns in the Japanese tech tree, you'll notice that they have abysmal accuracies that make some Soviet tanks look good. That being said, the theory and the practical results are somewhat different from one another, as you can see with these very narrow shots I just made against that CDC and the Jagdpanther II at around 400 meters each. These accuracy ratings, they can be somewhat trollish. Yes, this means that your dispersion bloom will be significantly larger than on other comparable heavies that you might be used to from other tech lines, but that being said, it's not as bad as you would suspect, especially if you mount a vertical stabilizer or if you're so inclined to use an enhanced gun laying drive. And right now you see me just eat a shot from that Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, looking for a shot. Looks like planted just a little low on that hill. So originally I was thinking get over this hill, get out of sight, but then I decide not gonna make it. I turned the hull and it still wasn't enough. And that's the limitation of these vehicles. If you have someone who's got a good marksmanship spirit, they will hurt you bad. So that last replay was all about the gun performance and the gun layout and how it can be somewhat tricky to master. This replay is all about the armor, really and truly, and how the armor layout can actually troll your opponents as much as it trolls you. So we find ourselves in one of those nice artificial common test server 7 vs 7 melees, just like our last match on Cliff. Recognizing the speed cap of the Oho, I decide to head to the stereotypical heavy tank spot at G2 and try not to go very far from there because I suspect that we're going to get flanked and capped by that T69 and possibly the IS-6 if he's feeling ambitious. So I'm a little surprised to see this STA-2, it looks like, coming up to this spot with me. So we decide to poke the corner and make use of the fact that this is a very tall tank and only stick the turret and the gun over top of it. Our ally tracks that IS-6 out in the open. We put a shot into his lower glacis, pull forward while during the reload, minimize our silhouette. Looks like we just bounced an EP shot from the old hole. It looks like he's using the 15 centimeter derp gun for whatever reason. Not looking for waste ammunition and time. Switch targets from the old hole to the T69. Trying to maintain the number of people shooting at me to 1. I poke out only as far as to get a shot on the old hole. And realizing what gun he's using, decide to capitalize on the faster reload of my gun compared to his to sneak a shot in on the IS-6. And as you can see, we're just trading shots back and forth right now. Neither of us has penetrated the other. So, sensing that the odds are stacked against me if I keep staying in this position, I back up a little bit and try to pull the IS-6 into a position that benefits me. Looks like I track him with that shot and he repairs it, but he bounces return. The enemy Oho at this point is going balls deep, full speed ahead, and damn the torpedoes. Trying to go right past me as if he was some type of destroyer in World of Warships, which is kind of funny considering that they're basically battleships in this game. And now he just made it apparent that he has switched to his high explosive anti-tank ammunition, and the IS-6 put in a nice clean hit into those angled cheek armor plates on the front of the Oho's armor, And since this guy is being stupid enough to show us his ass, well, why not tap that ass with this gun? So right now you see me trying to now back up from the IS-6, trying to control the engagement. I'm always looking for an opportunity shot against that IS-6 or perhaps the O-hole, since he doesn't seem to be that into angling against me, or he thinks I'm not a threat. And you a little bit ago saw me bounce one of his heat shells. I love it. You can actually see or hear the high explosive anti-tank sizzle, and in return I sent a shot into the rear of his tank, but it bounced off that rear machine gun bull turret. And while looking for a shot on the IS-6, I take an opportunity shot on the T-69, and another wonderful gold sizzle has just graced the side of my tank. I look for a shot on that old hole to reset the cap. No hurry just yet. Rush the shot on the IS-6. Plan to switch to high explosive, but decide to reload a AP shell, finish off the IS-6, turn my attention to the O-hole in the cap, aim the shot, plant a high explosive shell into the flat surface of his turret, it looks like. Try to rinse and repeat here, but it just bounced off that nice angled turret. You'll now notice that I'm now 1 versus 2, and him firing his high explosive anti-tank doesn't seem to be doing shit to me right now, so I'm looking for an opportunity shot against the top of that super Pershing. Connects with the very top of his spaced armor gun mantlet there. Look for a shot on that old hole, but that doesn't do anything to those machine gun bulges. At this point, fire another round, HE, reload, AP, and now I'm sitting there wondering, well, where are the weaknesses in the armor to this tank? I'm analyzing the angles, and then I see these flat surfaces that he's not doing shit about because he's keeping the gun pointed at me. Put one right into his turret there, didn't expect that to go in. Bouncing the super Pershing. I'm consciously trying to knock out the enemy O-hole first. He's lower on health, and that makes him priority target number 1. Just trying to be efficient with the reload of this gun. He's not making life easy. I'm trying to bait him into giving me a shot, and it looks like he just did right there through the armor cheeks of his turret. We finish him off, and now the super Pershing's probably feeling the pressure. He's trying to close distance. Don't know why. That makes his gun useless at this distance. He can't actually hit the weak spots in the armor profile of the O-hole. So, exploiting his mistake, decide to push forward into him and keep pouring this fire into the top of his turret. We ram him a little bit, and then rinse and repeat. Finish the match. Poof. Win. So, this is a more realistic depiction of how the O-hole will perform. It's a tier 10 battle. You can consider this a worst case scenario for the O-hole, since the majority of both teams are tier 10, and there are only 2 tier 8s per team. Oh, and gotta love that wall of tank destroyers. So, factoring in all of this, and my previous experience that you've seen with the Type 5 first impressions video, that I'm not going to try to head for the hill. This is also that dominant hill along the 9-0 lines, I mean. This is also, given my disposition within the Allied spawn, it benefits trying to help the fight in the 1-2 line area. Considering that most of the enemy team have higher penetration guns than I would anticipate this vehicle being able to bounce reliably, I decide to make this little industrial hamlet that you see on the 2 line and going into the 3 line my primary abode for this match. So I begin my slow lumbering crawl up here. I know, 12 kilometers per hour. So fast, right? It's blistering. Well, maybe compared to a T-95. So I see this RU-251. I'm searching for a shot, but looks like I was taking shots in decent amounts of lag there. Couldn't find my mark on it. That's not the bit of the gun, that's just lag. That's why that second shot went out after he got killed. So, seeing that the primary threat approaching this allied T-30 is going to be that Jagdpanzer E-100, I'm vying for a higher position to try to shoot down on his vehicle. And you're about to see that 215 millimeters of penetration is all fine and dandy, except when you're trying to shoot down on the top of a Jaegeru. And for those of you who noticed that there is no premium ammunition on this vehicle, or for this particular gun, I should say, that really does hurt in situations like this. And right now you see me searching for a shot on this FVTD, trying to make its way into our capture circle quickly, and now I poke back out only to be caught in by a mouse. Not thinking I'd penetrate the mouse, I try again for the commander's hatch on the Jaegeru. Pull back, reload. Decide to test if I can penetrate the side spaced armor of the mouse. Put a shot out. I think I'm a little far away for that shot, but I don't think I want to be any closer than this to engage a mouse, because then he doesn't have to aim at all. I see the mouse falling back. I take another shot at the Jaegeru's hatch. I think I planted those two a little low. And then at this point, I decide to support the T-30 a little bit more, because the Jaegeru's tracked it. This should provide me the opportunity to get around to his relatively unarmored ass and start pouring in fire through some not-so-surprised butt sex. So here we are, just waiting for that gun to reload, watching this Jaegeru just take punishment, and in surprise, he can't push 120 tons of failed Japanese katanas. And someone picks up the kill because he can't angle his armor, because he's stuck. So right now, after that kill, decide to help up the Allied front push on the 1-2 line, and alongside this T-30 and this T-110 Echo 3, we decide to move up along this corridor in the low grounds of the 3 line to make a push against this E-100. It looks like he knows what's coming and is trying to make his push through Allied lines, as he just picks up the kill against our T-110 Echo 5, who was bravely holding that front. Our T-30 puts in a nice shot into the rear of that E-100. It looks like it rolled low, or he's using the 120 millimeter gun. I can't tell which right at the moment. And right now, we come up there and, E-100 ass. I think we'll have some of that. Instantly seeing the radar pop blip up that there is a giant T-90 artillery piece staring us down. I swing the tank around to minimize the silhouette for him, put in a good shot there, and looks like our gunner was just a little too accurate, putting that shot, that second follow-up shot, I mean, right into the hill, right into the center of where the T-92 would have been, instead of where the rear of his vehicle was. That would have cleared that rock. So instead of taking the long way around up the hill, I take the short route through the underpass, and then using the fast reload of this 105mm gun, pick up the kill on the T-92 before you can reload, or before you could aim that shot. This E50M pops up at extreme range, and right now you're thinking, .4 accuracy. There's no way he's gonna pick up that kill. Up, he's aiming, he's aiming, he's aiming, and boom! 510-meter through the front. E50M kill. Hold your applause. So right now, the only enemy remaining is the Bashation 25-ton artillery piece. So I'm thinking to myself that the Oho will never catch up to this guy. So I'm making my way towards the cap to try to just cap out, because 25 kilometers per hour versus 50 kilometers per hour, that guy could do donuts around this thing and unload his auto-loading clip into me and pick up the kill, but our artillery is insisting he knows where this guy is, so decide to turn out, support my good buddy in the T-30 who's been with me this entire match, move forward, and try to deal with this, or contain the threat posed by this artillery. And we see that our two tier 10s remaining, the E100 and the T110 Echo 3, have decided to cap out quite wisely, and we're not able to find the artillery in time before they capture the base. So on that bombshell, I'd like to leave you with a little bit of a surprise ending omake clip for you all. The question I'd like to pose to you all is, what kind of tier 10s and how many of them does it take to kill a single Oho? We're about to find out. So we're in a fairly representative match of the test server. In the Oho, we managed to put out a shot into that object 263 at long range and overmatch his side armor, put in a little bit of unaimed blind spice just because, well, why not? And find ourselves in this part of El Haluf going, well, this could have ended better for the Allies. So decide to poke up and see if anybody's coming up over the hill. Don't see anybody just yet. It looks like our Bashation 25-ton tier 10 medium tank is having troubles of his own. He's outside of render range when all of a sudden a wild Waffenträger auf E100 appears. And poke, 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 get a shot into his magazine system if I can. A little bit of a low roll. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Bounce! Ah, you feel like trying again, Waffenträger auf E100? Sure. We'll give you a chance. Oh, is that an STB-1? Uh-oh. 2 versus 1. Oh, this can end in only one way, right? Poke. Oh, looks like that was the STB-1 that got that penetrating hit. And bounce. Almost got a reversing ram on that STB-1, and apparently it takes a tier 10 TD with superpower penetration and a top tier 10 medium tank to seal the deal against an Oho. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for bearing with me to this point, and thank you for watching. The next video I plan to upload is going to be a World of Warships video. It's planned to be all about the USS Langley, the Tier 4 US carrier. Please look forward to that. If you like what you've seen thus far on the channel, or like what I'm about to bring to the channel, please consider subscribing. And as a parting note, I'd like to bid you all good day.